Being that it's 9 o'clock, we'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I don't know what to say.
Pledge
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have the, is this being recorded?
I don't know if she's on or not. Okay.
We have the agenda in front of us here. Any additions or corrections to the agenda? If not, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Motion by Dewey. Is there a second?
Yep.
Second it. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Approve previous board minutes from November 26, 2024. Everybody's had a chance to read those. Is there any additions or corrections to those?
Move to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Public comment. Is there anybody that'd like to make a public comment? Seeing as there is none, we'll go on to appointments. Houston County Fair Report. Jessica. Good morning.
Morning. Happy frigid morning. So the fair this year was great to see. I think I saw about everybody there at some point. We had one of our best, I would say, most successful fairs. Success counted by the amount of people. We don't have an actual attendance thing, but the grounds were fuller than they've ever been, especially Wednesday and Thursday, which are usually our very slow nights. We had a ton of people there. So attendance was up. Our grandstand numbers were up, and our community sponsorship was up as well. We presented that we were going to try something totally different, just really send it, and we sent it, and I felt like the entire Houston County Fair Board did a phenomenal job this year. It wasn't just me, it wasn't the president, it was the work of all of our directors. So I would say we've had a great success this year. Highlighting, we got a carnival by, I know when I was here last year, I was like, I don't know if a carnival's gonna happen, but we did manage to land a carnival. This next year, we're hoping to find a carnival again, but that's always a toss-up. Our carnival last year did say within the next 7 years, the odds of carnivals even being in the Midwest are gonna be slim to none, just because people are getting out of it, it's expensive, the regulations, and down south, they can play all year long versus having to move back and forth with winters. So that's why there's the carnival. We started the Ag Playground this year, which is a free space for kids to play. Carol Dearson and PJ Johnson headed up the little kids section, trying to teach kids where they're farming, where your food comes from. That was a success. We are planning to have that back next year, free of charge again, and expand on it as well. We bought the tractor pullback. That was a big thing, and just added more things around the grounds. With the community support, we were able to expand and have more things on the grounds during the fair. We are working on the next phase of the livestock building. I talked to Mark Jennings, and he figures the rough cost, fluidly, is about $350,000 to put up that next building phase. Right now, we're well over $100,000 into that. We're put on other campaigns. We are seeing funds come in from personal, business, and all different levels that way. What questions do you guys have for me?
So which building would that be replacing?
This would be like
Dairy
the dairy end.
Dairy?
Yep, the dairy barn needs some desperate help.
Yep, yep, yep. Well, you guys did a good job.
Well, thank you. Like I said, we appreciate this support we get from you guys as well. But yes, we're gonna try hard to hit it out of the park again and top what we did last year. The weather was a huge impact. It was wonderful weather, so that was great too. So.
And that new lean-to that was added, that was put to use? Good.
Yes, yep. So we built that leans-to on that commercial building. The tent we had rented from La Crosse Tent and Awning was they're no longer in business. So we found a comparable tent, and they wanted $4,000 to $5,000 a year just for us to rent it. So with that extra money we had from the COVID or ARPA fund, there you go, thank you, the ARPA fund, we put that money to use, and we had built that. Craig, our maintenance man, did a lot of it, did it all himself with some help from a couple people, and that way we were able to save on labor and built it ourselves, and now each year we don't have to incur that $4,000 to $5,000 cost. So trying to put that ARPA money where we're gonna put it, where it's gonna save us but provide. And we did a lot of updates to Floral Hall. That foundation was pretty weak. This year we're looking, or 2025, we're looking at updating the 4-H exhibit building because same thing, it's a very old building, the foundation is not that great, so, yeah.
Good. Well, thank you for what all you guys do.
Thank you for what you guys do too, so it's.
I know you don't get paid much.
It's the love of the fair. That's what
Yeah.
keeps us going. But we just had our annual meeting in November. So we have a couple new people joining us. So we're gonna have another great year. So
Well, it's good that you get people to volunteer to help and be active.
that can be the challenging part to get
Yes, it
community
is.
volunteers. But we rely on our volunteers, our community so much, and they support us very well. So which is wonderful.
Yep. All right.
Anything else? I can, I can send one. Yeah, I can email them. Want me to just email them to you? Okay. All right, perfect.
Yeah, it was in our packet.
But, yeah,
Yeah,
it's in the packet.
Okay,
It was in the packet,
Yep.
but yeah.
perfect. That's all right. It's all good. Anything else from anyone? All right, well, thank you very much. You guys have
you.
a lovely day.
Thank you.
You too.
Labor negotiations, we'll do that at the end of the meeting again. Yep. We'll move on to the consent agenda. We have one item on the consent agenda, and that's to approve a request from Amelia to carry her entire accrued vacation balance into 2025 with the understanding the amount exceeding the carryover limit, approximately 40 hours, will be used prior to April 1st. Any questions on that? If not, is there a motion?
Make a motion to approve that. Sounds reasonable, as busy as she's been.
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, action item number 1. Consider discussing and possible action regarding temporary employment agency assistance. Carol.
Okay, we have 2 positions open in the auditor's office. We have a position open in the environmental services office. They are posted. There have been no applicants. I just think this is somewhere where we need to get some, bodies in there to do, get some help in those areas. There's a couple of temporary agencies. We have used them before. Manpower was before, but I don't think they're in existence anymore. It's different agencies, so I'd like to contact them to see what they could provide temporarily.
And so as far as with the union, is that a
It's a temporary,
temporary situation, so it's until we find somebody permanent? Yep.
right? We'll
Be
just,
mostly clerking and stuff like that.
yeah, just, processing things through and, entering data, and we'll I'll get a list together of what the most immediate needs are. But hard when people don't apply.
It's very difficult, but would these people be our employees, or they'll be somebody else's employees and we're just paying
Right.
the rate? Okay.
They are just they are the agency, they're employed through the agency, and then we pay just a contract amount.
Okay.
That's how it was before. Find out how it works now.
So we'll keep advertising and we get a satisfactory applicant. It'll take care of what,
Right.
try to- okay.
So when we talked about advertising before, we were gonna be more specific in the job duties as far as, like for the auditor's office, they'll be
Right, it's more of a
working in the
focused one of them.
DMV, or they're gonna be working in the auditor's section, whatever.
The DMV would actually be kind of hard to have a temporary employee because they have to go through the
Right, the state training and stuff.
training and stuff, so it'd probably be more on the other end. They're,
So, yeah, so the temporary is just gonna be helping other than DMV, basically, right? Okay.
I don't know, are there aspects of like the license center just issuing plates that they can do without stickers, without?
Requirements are pretty, yeah.
Just something to look at, because it's been a long time since there've been full staffs there.
So what do you need? Just to go ahead, consensus to go ahead and
Right.
into temp service?
Right.
Makes sense to me.
That's fine with me. I don't know what the rest of you guys think.
I'm okay. On a motion then, Chair?
Well, I don't think we need an action, do we?
Under
No,
action.
because you know, we'll find out what's even available and come
Yeah,
back.
we'll come back with the action that we're going to do.
Right.
Do some fact finding.
Yep.
Of course, if you know of anyone, encourage them to apply.
I've been telling people.
So I guess the next item for discussion is, I cleaned up the human resource officer job description that we had approved. There were a couple, wording changes that needed to be done. The pay equity needed to be added. So I just wanted you to see that when it wasn't all marked up. And then we're also reviewing the HR technician job description, because there are a lot of duties that are taken care of by Ann, HR technician, that are not listed on there. She's spearheaded a lot of projects that need to be recognized, that that's who actually does them. So that'll be brought back. And I also have the county administrator job description. Now, whether it's an interim or whether it's a, full hire of a county administrator, this is the job description that they need to be able to operate on. I know an interim one was approved. It's not comprehensive, so it's hard to actually use. So I would ask that this be approved as the job description, and the board will need to have a discussion of what they're going to do for the county administrator position.
Okay.
So on this one with the administrator's page, you got management 1 and management 2. We can cross out number 2 because it's a duplicate of number 1,
Oh,
correct?
I just printed the one that was,
Okay, that's what I
it
was looking
probably needs to say something else.
at. Yeah. I'm starting to add up the percentages there. I came up with over 100%.
Well, I tell you, most people working here do have over 100%.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
Yeah, that's a duplicate. That's
Yeah.
no problem.
That's funny. So I would like the approval on those two. And I guess we'd slate it for the 17th for the board to have discussions regarding the actual position.
Okay.
Well, this is the first I've seen this, so it wasn't in the packet.
It's actually the job description from when Jeff was here. That was his.
Pretty much identical. Oh, we could, go ahead. Oh,
You said Gesundheit. I heard it.
So we'll bring this back on the 17th, is your thought, Carol?
but you're asking for approval of the job
The
description.
job description. Decision on how you move
And the
forward on the
decision how to move
17th.
forward. So if we approve the job description for the human resources, we won't advertise for it
We'll
until,
advertise for it.
You will.
You've really already authorized
Well, I thought we did that,
advertising for
right.
it. It's just that the job description needed still some cleanup. I gave you that copy that had lines on it and
yep.
everything, so
So what did this come back as far as a?
I'm sure it's a D62. It will be a D62.
D61, isn't it?
Or D61, yeah, D61. You know, there's still policy management, there's still budget for the office, but I'll find out for sure.
Okay. And the county administrator one, has that been,
It's the E82.
What's that again, Carol? I didn't catch it.
E82,
E8.
it's on the back page.
so let's do this one at a time. Approve the job description for human resources officer. Is there a motion to approve the job description for that?
I've had the advantage of seeing this before, and I believe with the lines corrected and so on, I move to approve the HR description.
And this will stay non-union and confidential.
Right, there will still be, you know, assistance with the negotiations, preparing.
Motion's made, is there a second?
I'll second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Now the county administrator one. So if we were to approve this, you're gonna advertise for that too?
The board will decide that on the 17th. This is just to get the job description rather than having the interim job description, which doesn't include everything.
So we could use this as our interim job description as well?
Correct. I don't know that people actually have interim job descriptions. I think they just hire somebody to work under
To
that
do
job
the
description.
administrator role.
Right.
So in the budget part here, 10% of their duties is to collaborate with the finance director. That's what it always used to be for budgets and so on.
Under county board, serves as clerk to the county board, then that comes off of the auditor's office.
Yes.
When you go down to personnel, just curious, the first bullet, establish the goals, evaluate performance, and authorize salaries for the appointed department heads. So that's authorize the presentation of the salaries to the board, or does the person authorize salaries, period?
It's always been to present it to the board.
So the next bullet point, as far as authorizing the hire, that's for presentation to the board. They don't hire and fire.
Subject to the approval of the county board. County board basically makes the final decision on
Yep.
anything.
Could we not approve this? Give us time to look at this and then approve it on the 17th and then take action at the same time? Or not?
That's what you want to do?
No, I think that makes sense, because it's a lot to,
I guess I was just under the assumption that we had the administrator before. That's the job description they worked on, then that would be what you would want the administrator to do.
Well, right, yeah.
Just you.
I would just like more time to study this, to compare, but I don't know, it's up to you guys, what you think. You wanna go ahead and pre-approve this and then take action on the 17th?
When you say compare
Oh,
to
there's
what?
other job descriptions out there, I mean, they're probably all pretty much the same.
Oh, I
don't
see.
know.
Other people's.
Other counties, yeah.
can we get one from Nicollet County and one other one to compare? I'd like to look at it too for,
Yeah, I agree with you getting this set. With any action, I think we gotta wait till we find it in the budget.
Okay, we will move on to FEMA, or FEMA. I'm looking at a FEMA account.
We're gonna wait on this one then till later, okay?
So you're talking about number 2, ARPA funds?
ARPA funds, you got the sheet with the ARPA funds that we have. We had a finance committee meeting regarding budget. And what we want to make sure that we do is get everything from ARPA committed before the end of the year. And we have to look at things that aren't just, oh, we'll give you this money, we need, like quotes, something that can be approved as committed by the board. So I would like the board to approve the add backs, the unallocation of the CASA 6 La Crescent sidewalk improvement. And-
Add that back in.
back in there.
Yep. Add it back in.
Right, and the radio replacement budgeted, most of the radio replacements are now budgeted within the replacement of the car through the uplifting. We wouldn't be able to commit any of those funds before the end of the year because they wouldn't be ordered until next year. So we'll just add that money back, and the others are already included in the budget for the cars that are going to be replaced.
Okay.
They're already included in the, they call it uplifting or upfitting of
Yep,
the,
upfitting of the
squads.
squads, yep.
Yep.
okay. So I would like the board to actually act on unallocating those funds that had previously been allocated when we did that. We're also looking at getting, talk to Brian about getting quotes for those heaters, water heaters that need to be replaced,
Water boilers,
water boilers.
that was brought up this morning in land use, that there's 2 water boilers in this building, that one's down and one's not so good.
In this building or that building?
Over next
Or was it
door.
the new
In the new building.
Oh,
I
it's
was
in-
misunderstanding, I thought it was,
No,
it's the new building?
Yep.
Unless we're talking about two different things here.
I hope
65.
How was that, Bob?
65,000?
I thought it was this building. It was something that just came up.
I think the
Just-
ones in this building were replaced not that long ago.
Yeah,
We
they
put new
were.
ones in.
Couple years ago, didn't we replace the boiler? We had to get,
Down here, yep.
So it is the new.
I think it's the other building.
Okay. All right.
10 years old.
It's been in discussion since the summer.
things don't last like they
Next
used
door.
to.
And actually, two will be replaced, the other, there's three total. So one will need to be replaced then in 2026. From what I understand.
Looks like a pretty good place
So we'll
for,
get a quote from Winona Control
a
so
good
that
place
can
for
be
the money.
acted on prior to the end of the year to use that. So in looking at next year's budget, we'll take that money out, but we had allocated ARPA to, cover that, so it really doesn't have an effect on the budget
Cover top.
for next year. Was it like $1,000 or something like that?
Okay.
So it'll reduce it. We also have the $3,200 decrease
Center?
in the election equipment
Over the
that will come into play. We're also going to talk to
kids.
Brian, and I did get a list from Andy of equipment that they're looking for in their 2025 budget that we could possibly, use the remaining ARPA funds so that we make sure that we get it all allocated
Yep.
prior to December. So we'll have those discussions and bring that back before the end of the year. But unallocating those two projects, I'd like you to actually do that today.
So by unallocating it, that means we're not gonna give the Crescent that.
I think the discussion was that it's $50,000. It could come from,
It'll come
Other-
back and used for other,
it'll,
they haven't done anything.
right, they haven't done anything with it, and if
I
they,
just wanted to be clear on that, so.
they do get, the grants, we haven't paid them,
No.
we haven't given them the money.
No, it was
We
just,
said,
it was just designated, but,
right, and they were applying for grants and they needed to know, what it is.
Can't have it sitting there and not spent, not dedicated. So this way, we use it, it's spent, there's no carryover that we lose.
no, I'm fine with that. I agree with unallocating that. That and the, what was the other one?
The radio replacement.
Okay. Is there a motion to that effect?
I'll move to that effect, that we unallocate those two.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. So how are we looking on the budget? Are we,
The
Fine, and-
2025 budget?
are we finding any new money coming in that we're gonna be flush?
No.
Huh?
You can say flush and mean two different things.
close to being flushed.
When we did the preliminary budget, there were cuts made
I
in
know.
every department, every fund. I don't see that there really is any area that can be cut.
Well, what I was wondering if there's any more revenues that have come in that, or something that was not spent or whatever, so we got some carryover from 24 here.
Well, when I can print reports again, we'll see where
Okay.
we're at.
Yep.
But right now, we just get some kind of funky looking reports until we get that whole the whole upgrade done.
Okay,
And I'm hoping that's this week.
okay.
But at the present time, on your sheets that you got, the current budget, we're $87,293 over
Yeah.
7.5% budget increase, or levy increase.
Preliminary levy set.
Preliminary was set at 7.5, and we're 87,293 over that amount. So,
So looking at those possible uses of ARPA, we should at least, be able to get that down to zero. 67 is in the general fund and 20
65,545 general and 21,748 in Health and Human Services.
in Health and Human Services. The Highway Department's budget was cut considerably from their initial request. That's why we didn't have them using fund balance at this time.
And they're still not. They're still not using fund balance?
Not at the present time.
Not at the present time.
So we have alternatives. I mean, we can use fund balance. We can take out of the capital account and pay for some of the capital items in the general fund, pay for some of the capital items in Health and Human Services. By taking it out of that capital monies, I mean, there's still $400 and some thousand left of the insurance monies from the old jail. There's numerous dollars in different categories
Available.
in the capital fund that we could take out of to balance the budget or reduce it even more. When she gets it to where she can print it so we can see it a little better.
Hopefully the end of the week.
Yeah.
Okay.
But that's how we can make it fit as far as the budget without using any fund balance, is by taking out of the capital monies to pay for some of the capital acquisitions that we've got included in the budget right now.
Fund balance you're referring to is the general fund balance, or are you referring to the highway fund balance?
Well, the fund balance,
The capital is included in the general fund.
Right, I get that, yep. But as far as the highway department's budget, that's not, the fund balance in that department is not being tapped.
right, at the present time.
At present time.
Right. Because I know Brian talked about that he wants to, he didn't want to touch that because he's gonna, there might
Right.
be a need to use that money to front the projects that
Right.
get reimbursed from the state comes
Or
later.
Federals are the,
Or federal, I'm sorry.
yeah, federals are the one that get reimbursed after.
Yep.
State, they get the money as soon as they can, as soon as the project is let. So it's another thing for the 17th. We'll find out more information from the equipment, what we can do here and what we can possibly,
I believe on the 17th too, we're going to have Lisa Dirks coming from the University of Minnesota for the extension contract.
yep.
It's 3 years. And that's still budgeted what their contract was.
Still budgeted at the original.
Yeah, because we, Greg and I, when we were at our extension meeting, we got one coming up this Thursday too, but we talked about
Different options.
different options to shave some off on the cost of that because of the big increase from before. But I did tell him that, it's still in there now, so. I just wanted to give you guys a heads up that she's coming on the 17th. For approval or denial or whatever for the contract. I've followed some of the other counties, they've done some tweaking to theirs too, but. Okay,
Tonight's meeting ought to be an interesting meeting too.
yeah. That's at 6 o'clock tonight? Yep. Is everybody planning on coming to that?
As I sit here now.
Is that Bob?
I got the council with the.
Holka City Council meeting?
It's at 6 o'clock also.
The rest of you guys can make it?
Yes, sir.
I'm gonna make it too. I changed my schedule. I had something else going on too, but I'll make it. So.
Okay, well, the next item I have then is just a few budget amendments, and it really has to do with applying the fund balance, or the ARPA money that we've used for, no, the LACTF money that we used for the vehicle purchases And then the AS400 upgrade was actually money that we had set aside in a technical equipment account, an investment. It had to do with our workers' comp many, many years ago, but we've kept that money for basically upgrading that system. We'll use the remainder of the funds actually for upgrading our tax system, which we'll need to commit to soon. They're putting together a proposal. We've looked at the Tyler system. There's an Aumentum system. Not really what we'd want to use. The bidding has been done by MCCC, so we're, covered on there. It would replace the tax system and the CAMA system. They would all be converted over. So he's putting together those prices so that we can see where we're at with that. So that's the top one. That's taking those funds out of that investment account and applying them in Andy's budget so he doesn't look so far over budget. And the second one is the vehicle purchase.
Okay. Is there a motion for those budget adjustments?
Need a motion?
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Anything else, Carol?
The next is the non-union, non-represented pay grid. The pay grid was in the packet, and I've added on the back side of the sheet that I've given you the positions that it affects. It's calculated at the same rate that AFSCME 49ers have settled for. The 6.5% includes the drop site supervisors, the temporary seasonal help, veterans drivers, and sheriff's office transport officers.
Oh, yeah,
They're on
along
the
with,
back.
along with the nurses. Yeah, it's all in the back here, yep. So, isn't there two other IT people under this too?
No, they receive, but for the fact that they're confidential, which they might not be anymore, they would otherwise be in the AFSCME union. The same with Ann, and the same with legal secretaries in the county attorney's office.
Yeah, but
They're tied to those.
they're tied to those, right, but they're still considered non-represented and confidential employees, right? Aren't they? It should be included here, right? I mean, because they're not union.
No, they're not union. But whatever AFSCME settles for, that's what they are
I know,
tied to.
that's what we always used, but that's what we always done is try to follow along with what.
It's not tried, it has been, I don't know.
I know. You're mincing words, but they're still considered non-union employees. Right?
Non-represented, right?
Non-represented, right?
So we could add those.
That's what I'm trying to find out, is we could add the Ann's position and there's two other ones as well.
There would be a total of 5.
Five.
5?
The attorney's legal, whatever their new name is.
What's that?
In the attorney's office,
Yeah,
Cindy and Julie.
yeah, right, yes.
But they're not the county attorney secretaries anymore, they're ALA. I'm not sure what that acronym stands for right now, and I should look that
Right,
up.
right. Well, you're asking for consideration of approving the 2025 non-represented pay grid, so that would include all 9 representative people, correct? Employees?
Not exactly.
Okay, well then what do you, I don't understand.
Well-
I'm confused.
Okay, so these are the people who, they don't have a pay grid, but for you approving this non-represented.
So we're just gonna approve the ones that don't have a pay grid.
Right, because the 5 that were listed before do have a pay grid because they follow AFSME union.
Okay,
Because they don't fall under any of the other
Definitions.
exclusions for that
Okay.
union.
okay.
And they will actually most likely be reviewed because the definition of confidential changed. Quite some time ago, actually.
This list on the back, does that include like drop sites and shit like that, those people?
They have the
They got their other one, okay.
listing down here that are included.
Okay, they got their own little wage grid there.
Yes.
So basically, you're just asking for a motion to approve this right here,
I'm asking you to approve this.
this.
And
That's
these
for
are the-
these are the people that, the positions that
positions.
it's covered for.
Correct.
This is the same wage grid that's been used for negotiations with all the unions.
Correct.
Well, it's the updated one for
Yeah, right,
2025.
For 25.
On the 6.5, 3.5,
You're only approving the 2025.
just the 25, so it's the 6.5 increase, right? Because we're only do it 1 year at a time. Is there a,
I'll make a motion to approve the pay grid.
what's your motion, Greg?
To approve the pay grid on the front here of this here and the people on the back.
Is there a second to that?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Okay. Consider reviewing and approving payments. Everybody's had a chance to look at those?
I was looking at the Schaefer for 109,000, what would that be? I don't recognize it.
A lot of this is for soil and water stuff and, yeah, I don't know.
I have to pull it up. Is it on the commissioner's vouchers or the?
Auditor,
Auditor's warrants.
Okay, so those are soil and waters payments that they approve at their board meeting. We're fiscal agents, that's why we actually run them as auditors warrants, so they don't have to wait another week to get their
Right.
money.
okay,
We print those.
for the fiscal agent for soil and water.
There we go. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions on the vendor part of it? Now, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Brian, long as you're here, remind us what the boiler situation is again? That Greg brought up to you?
Yeah, so the courthouse is heated by two boiler systems.
New,
The new one.
No, this building, the historic courthouse, so this building itself. Is heated by two
we
boilers.
just put new chillers in. We didn't do new boilers.
Okay.
That's what, where the mix.
Correct, yeah. Greg's thinking that the boilers in this building are probably about 12 years old. So they're not new, they have some age on them. They're no longer being manufactured. They don't know how good they can get or how available the parts are to do some repairs on them. So what happened yesterday, they came in and there was a CO2 alarm going off in the boiler room and found out that one of the boilers is leaking. One of the gaskets is bad. Got looking at it and the metal is in rough shape in some of the areas. So you're gonna probably need to replace a gasket and maybe do some work on some of the metal framework. It's not in the pressurized section of the boiler, but it's some areas that has some heat. So the one boiler is, it's leaking. So what they did is they went to shut that one off, to use the second one. And the second one also kicks on and off. That one, the fan is not working. So that one is out of service. So what they talked about doing at first is swapping the fan from the boiler that's leaking carbon monoxide, put it in the second boiler to get that one going. But they don't know what's caused the second fan to stop working, so they don't want to swap fans and have an issue with the second fan because then the building will be totally without heat. So what they did for the time being is they took the boiler apart. They used some HVAC gasketing material. They kind of created their own gasket, put it back together so it's patched together so it's working now. They're monitoring it to make sure it's not leaking carbon monoxide. It's holding up at the time being, but they know it's a temporary fix. They don't want to leave it there for too long. So you're supposed to be getting a quote today on what it's going to cost to replace the fan on the one boiler and to repair the gasket, probably buy gaskets for both boilers because the other one has some a lot of signs that the other gasket's leaking too. On the panel on the back side has a bunch of discoloration and stuff. So they want to patch both of them together. Do not know what the cost is at this point, but Greg was told be prepared for sticker shock. So we're expecting this not going to be cheap. We just don't know exactly what that price is, and we don't know what the availability of the gasket's going to be or the fan. So there's potential that the boiler is going to need to be or both of them might need to be replaced, or maybe replace one and start swapping parts around to get the second one going. But we don't know. It's too early to call on that, and we're hoping to get everything patched back together and working. So
They were replaced in 2010.
2010, so 14 years old. You know, and based on what the cost was in the Justice Center for those boilers, it was like $55,000 and $65,000 for the second one. So that's about what the cost is. Probably going to be that much or more at this time to replace the boilers. So hopefully they can get patched together. Hopefully the price isn't too bad. But whenever we get that cost, it's going to need to be a decision made. Probably don't want to wait 2 weeks to order parts. Probably want to get going on that because we don't want to have this building without heat. And I'll work with Carol on that. And
It was 98,900 to replace them then.
2010?
That was both of them or just one?
that was two of them at that time.
I think we did it more during the summer.
Yeah, so we're hoping not to replace them. worst case, if we need to replace, maybe we can replace one, use the fan off the second one, and then try to get the second one working. But at this point, it's kind of too early to tell what the cost is gonna be, so.
Is that the one we actually got the grant for?
I was gonna say, I know we got some grant money for
Mm-hmm.
that, because there was a lot of additional reporting that had to be done while that was taking place.
So the second one was done when?
No,
No.
they were done at the same time.
Oh, okay. Shouldn't they last longer than that?
Wouldn't you think?
It seems like it's a maintenance issue to me. I mean,
No, if you look at the components that failed, it's gaskets, you're not gonna, take them apart and replace those gaskets. It's they have a lot of heat on them. Right now the water circulating inside the one is at 170 degrees. Shut it off for 20 minutes and that water's down to 100 degrees. So that water is always hot, circulating that water through the building. So you have a lot of high temperature flowing through that.
yeah, I know, I got a boiler myself. Mine lasted 30 years and it finally died and I can't get parts for it, so. That's probably the same situation here, I don't know.
Yeah, older.
Your new one isn't gonna last 30 years.
Yeah, unfortunately,
Hope so.
older components last a lot longer than newer stuff, so. So hopefully we can get a patch together. I just don't know if it's gonna be, a couple $1,000 or if it's gonna be in the tens of thousands. And I'll work with Carol and decide, if we wanna go back to, the board chair or how we wanna proceed, but.
It was confusing. It sounded just like the same thing happened next door, so that's why we were thinking, which building is it?
Yeah, it's this building, and the first question I had for Greg is, what do you mean both boilers are having issues? And they were both working the day before you walk in there, and the one's spewing carbon monoxide and the other one has a fan blown. So why they both happened at the same time, I don't know.
Because we're lucky.
Well, we know where we need to go with extra money.
And as soon as I know what that cost is, I will get it to you. So Greg was hoping to have it by 9 and
Yep.
hasn't come in yet.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank you.
Okay.
I apologize. I apologize when you were talking two. I know there's two over there.
I know, I was like, it can't be really.
Now we're talking four.
I was confused as hell. I didn't know which one you were thinking.
You get, when you have to, if you order four, can you get a good discount?
Well, are they the same thing?
Unfortunately.
They're probably different.
Yep, they have.
I would assume they're different than the boilers are over at the Justice Center.
I guess I don't know what was on that, but I know they're different. The ones that are in here now are different than ones.
Yeah,
Maybe we should just see what two of them would cost and be done with it. Cause you start ping ponging on the other one and spending $3,000 to $5,000.
well, it's two different buildings, so,
No, for two in here in this building, but buy them both new.
oh, yeah, I mean.
That would be an option.
Sounds like none of them are any good.
It's best to find out pricing and see what can.
Keep us informed on that.
Yep.
Administrator updates.
Pretty much,
Let's
you
do
know.
it. I don't have much to, went to the joint board of health on via Zoom or Teams meeting, whatever. Learned some more good stuff on the cannabis stuff that we didn't know, that I didn't know. There's only gonna be 150 licenses issued in the whole state of Minnesota for retailers. But then I didn't,
Yeah.
but then I didn't realize that each licensed retailer, licensed individual can have 5 shops
Oh, I didn't see
with
that.
that license.
You might see that go on in the cities quite a bit.
Well, I mean, what that means, it's gonna be controlled by a very few.
Are we gonna get any license down here if they're only gonna get
Well,
one hundred and fifty?
I don't know, but I mean, it's gonna be only 150 issued and they can have 5 up to 5, so that's 750 total in the whole state of Minnesota, so. Anyway, There also is gonna be some grants coming, supposedly, canned grants to help individuals start up businesses. I don't know any, there's a meeting coming up the 10th of December. How that works, where that money comes from or whatever, so. And we got a extension meeting Tuesday or Thursday night, Greg. I think I already gave you a report on my River One meeting last time. Louis, what do you got?
Actually, nothing. I was unable to attend the Parks meeting yesterday, but other than that, nothing's happened since last week.
Okay. Commissioner Burns.
Oh, last night I went to a Hiawatha Valley Annual Board meeting and reviewed the year in review for Hiawatha Valley. In the last 5 years, they've grown dramatically in size. One of the big things that they're doing is the emergency service for when somebody calls for assistance. They're adding all these people that are gonna be able to make a quicker response time to those people in need. So that's been a benefit, and they've grown dramatically. Financially, they're in fairly decent shape as long as all the grants and everything stay in the same condition. Next year, they have 4 quarterly meetings plus the annual meeting, so there's January and every 3 months, plus the annual meeting in November for whoever gets the Hiawatha Valley Board membership in the county. Erdman sent the notice about District 9 counties to join the Southeast Minnesota League of Municipalities on Wednesday evening in Chatfield. I assume that's this coming Wednesday evening from 5 to 8:30.
Yeah, I saw that. What is Ryan Erdman sent this?
Yep.
Yep. So that's something that was been talked about to get together and bounce ideas off each other, or what?
Yep. So I was thinking I'd go to it. I don't know. I'm assuming from 5 to 8:30, so they feed you, and then at 7 o'clock, the meeting starts. So there's more information available. And I think you gotta have tickets, so. I wanna verify if it's this Wednesday night or when it is, but,
Well, it'd be good if you went, at least, somebody should go.
It is this week.
okay. So, I'll have to call this outfit and
So what day this week?
Wednesday.
Wednesday? Yeah, I guess it is Wednesday evening. All right.
I'll get a hold of them and see about getting registered for that.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have nothing else to report.
Commissioner Schultz.
We had our land use meeting this morning, some interesting numbers from River Soil, Dave Walters on the cover crop program, and between there and Fillmore County, that the usage was pretty good. Houston County, they had over 5,800 acres that
Really?
was utilized. Sounds like
That's a
that
lot.
program was really taking off and being utilized.
On the cover crop, is that planted by plane or how is that, how do they put that down?
It's either broadcast or seeded in, drilled in with a
Okay.
drill.
Cause I know there
Or
was
a drone.
there was planes that were flying and doing something earlier this fall.
Yeah, I think Connor McCormick had some planes lined, a plane lined up. I know he does some of that.
It's that yellow plane that flies.
But that was probably for spraying, but they do it for cover crop. But what Bob's referring to is this new Climate Smart program. It's a federal program that Fillmore and Houston counties signed up for and got involved with. It's run out of Virginia Tech, is the one that distributes the whole thing. So between the two counties, there's like $2 million worth of,
2.8.
$2.8 million worth of
payments that they
sign
do.
up that went on in both counties. Yep.
Didn't mean to interrupt, but thank you.
Oh, very, thank you. He also gave a little update on their canoe landing project that he was working on in Hoka, that the DNR changed some of their verbiage where now it, does reach out to where it doesn't have to be DNR owned land, so that is back on the table to be looked at, next year.
That's the spot right there by the intersection of County 7.
Right, County 7 and the bridge there. Could see some changes as soon as next year, the way it sounded.
Get that going.
Zoning, they had some information on that street vacation down by the Commodore. Sounds like they're changing gears on that and more to come. But
More to come.
either way, Brian pointed out that it wouldn't affect our easement egress into our,
Yeah, they were gonna have a public hearing to vacate that.
but now
And
they're
then-
not.
Now they're not, they're backpedaling because the owner of the building doesn't wanna do that.
The
Brian, you
Commodore-
wanna explain that a little better to us?
I have a phone call I gotta take.
Oh, okay.
The Commodore vacation area on the street,
Yes.
to our drop site.
Yeah, so access into the drop site area currently, there is F Street, had a portion of it vacated previously, so currently it's, I can't remember if it's 17 or 19 feet wide. Some of it is actually underneath the Commodore, I don't know if it's underneath the building itself, I think some of it might be, and some of it's under the sidewalk right next to it, not underneath the parking area. Adjacent to that, there's a 33-foot wide ingress egress easement that the county has. So the request from the developer was to vacate F Street and allow the 33-foot ingress egress to remain. Well, that is the county's ingress egress easement, that's not the city's ingress egress easement, so the city does not technically have any access in and out to the dog park other than going through the county's easement if F Street was vacated. So what the city has asked the developer is, you know, if you want us to vacate F Street, what we want in exchange is for the developer to plat and dedicate a right-of-way. I don't know if they were gonna ask for 33 feet or 40 feet or what the ultimate width was, but they were gonna ask for dedicated right-of-way near where the county's easement is. Maybe have the county vacate the existing easement and get a new easement back to the county at a slightly different location of the same width. Developer said, we're not interested in dedicating right-of-way of that width in and out of the drop site and the dog park area. We're gonna move our building. So at this point, even though the city's put out a public notice saying that they want to, gonna have a public hearing on vacating F Street, the city said that's no longer gonna happen. Essentially, F Street's gonna remain.
Great. That don't make no sense to this boy. Cause it's, you gotta get to the park that they built, you gotta get to the county facility.
Yep, so we'll be able to get in and out.
We'll still gonna get, we'll
They-
still get ours, keep ours.
Yeah, they can't put anything in that easement, ingress egress easement that's gonna block our access in that. So what Emil and I have been telling the city and the developer is we're not gonna recommend or allow parking within that because then that's gonna restrict access with vehicles pulling trailers in and out and, you know, semis and everything else going in and out. So we'll be able to remain that access, so we're not gonna be cut off. And developers looking at how they can move their facility around to keep their parking and keep their building outside of those areas.
Are they're remodeling the Commodore, they're not tearing it
They're
down?
tearing it
Tearing it
down.
down and putting in a whole new building.
Oh, sure, okay. Oh, heck.
Go figure.
Yep, so I haven't seen the new layout, but, you know, I would assume that they're gonna move the new building farther to the north and then probably have some parking and maybe a pond farther to the south side of our ingress egress area.
Pond.
There's some requirements that they need to have some
Runoff.
stormwater runoff controls for a redevelopment site.
Kind of a big pond just to the east.
Swamp, yeah.
Yep.
Gulch one.
Yeah.
Where are they gonna park their cars? If they have
They're,
onto the
they're,
building?
they're building to meet, the city's ordinances for that size of a building. I believe they need to have 9 parking stalls. They initially wanted to have like 33 stalls. So they might need to give up a few stalls, but they'll still have way more than what's required by the city.
Do you want to touch on the snowmobile club?
Sidewalk maybe too.
Oh, yeah, the sidewalk thing too, yep.
Since I'm here, I can touch on that. And I got a message here saying that the fan for the boiler is $4,200 to get a new fan, to get that one boiler back up and running. So
Better fix it.
I don't think we really have a choice. I think that's a lot cheaper than replacing the boiler. So as long as you're okay with that, I will say to go ahead. So yeah, 2 other issues that I mentioned during subcommittee this morning was both the City of La Crescent and City of Spring Grove they want to apply for Safe Routes to School funding for some sidewalks and crossings of roadways. So like Spring Grove is looking to have some additional crosswalks with some flashing beacons to cross Truck Highway 44 going through town. And in order for the city of Spring Grove to do that, they're going to need to have a letter of support or a sponsor resolution for the county to sponsor their project. If they're a city of less than 5,000, they're not a state aid city, so they need to have the county's backing to apply for this grant. So they've been talking to MnDOT. They developed a Safe Routes to School plan several years ago. The county was involved with that. I'm fully on board with what Spring Grove was attempting to do. So I'm going to be bringing forward a resolution in the future to get that approved. So that needs to be submitted to the state by July 17th or January 17th. The second city is City of La Crescent. They are a state aid city. They do not need to have a resolution from the county to apply for Safe Route to School funding. However, part of the sidewalk that they want to install is on County 25. From where Skunk Hollow Road meets County 25, I don't know where in that area, but based on what they're saying is to connect some sidewalks where they have sidewalk in one area, then they have a gap, and then they have some more sidewalks. So I think it's gonna be going north on County 25 to where there's a city street that goes off to the west. I think it's about a block or 2 in that section that they're looking at installing sidewalk, but they haven't told me the exact location, but I know it's within the county right away, so.
If it's going north, is going up to the entrance to Springbrook then, possibly.
Possibly into that one entrance, yeah.
That one entrance there.
And they haven't told me exactly where, they're gonna want the county to agree to put a new sidewalk. And what I brought up during subcommittee is City of does not want to maintain the sidewalk when they crack or start having heaving. So, is the county gonna wanna support this without getting some type of assurance that they are gonna go out there and maintain these sidewalks in the future? So my recommendation to the county board will be that the city signs an agreement that they will maintain the sidewalk, both for removing snow, but also for in the future when that sidewalk cracks or heaves or has issues, that they're gonna maintain it. So that is what pretty much every other city does. They all maintain the sidewalks, not just within our county, but statewide. During subcommittee, they kind of, the commissioners thought that was a good idea, is to have the city
Maintenance agreement.
agree to maintain it. So I'm gonna get back to the city. I'm gonna tell them that in order for me to bring this forward to the board and recommend approval, I'm gonna need to have a maintenance agreement. So we'll see what they say on that. And then the other issue that was mentioned, any questions on that? Okay, the Snowmobile Club, LUP. So that's the LUP agreement, limited use permit between Houston County and MnDOT to allow snowmobile trails within MnDOT right of way. So that got brought up here about a month ago. I know Polly's been dealing with the DNR. I've been talking to the other county engineers and MnDOT. And the other county engineers are saying the same thing as our county attorney. Why would Houston County want to approve a limited use permit agreement to allow snowmobile clubs to use MnDOT right away when the county doesn't have really any involvement with those clubs? We don't deal with the trails. Spoke with some MnDOT state aid staff, and he spoke with the MnDOT District 6 engineer out of Rochester. So he is the one that oversees all of MnDOT in southeast Minnesota. He agrees for the most part. He said, yeah, why does the county want to get in the middle of it? The funding is DNR funding to use a trail within MnDOT right away. So we have two state agencies. Why is the county involved? So he was going to do some more checking. We haven't got in touch since we initially talked about a week ago. And he was going to do some checking, does the county really need to approve this, or can they get by without the county approving it? What the DNR has told Polly is that if the county does not approve the LUP, that's gonna essentially the trails will not be eligible for funding on those trails within MnDOT right away. So the trails will lose out on some money. Don't know if those trails will allow to remain within the MnDOT right away. But that's right. That's basically what you got told.
Yeah, so there'd be just different.
So it's just portions of that trail, not the whole trail, just the portions that are on the state right away.
Yeah, that's the way I took it too. So it might remove, 5 or 10% or whatever that funding. So we'll try to figure out what that dollar amount is and get more information on, what is the length of the MnDOT right away, what's that dollar amount that's going to be put in jeopardy. And I'm going to keep working with the MnDOT district engineer on, does the county really need to approve this, or can MnDOT work it out with the DNR? Within our district, most counties have not been asked to approve this, but I do know that Fillmore County has been asked to approve a limited use permit for snowmobiles to cross one of MnDOT bridges. And in that agreement, Fillmore County would be liable for any damage caused to that bridge by the snowmobiles. And if you ever get out of your vehicle and look at a bridge deck from where a snowmobile crossed the roadway, those bridges get scarred up pretty good on that surface. So it starts putting Fillmore County liable for the deck of their bridges. Their engineer kind of got told the same thing as I got told from the other county engineers and our MnDOT contacts. Why would the county want to take on liability there and responsibility for that stuff? So he was going to go back and talk to his subcommittee and ultimately probably go to the county board at some point. I don't think that's happened yet, but they're kind of the same thing. Why do we really want to approve this? There are a couple counties that cities have approved limited use permits instead of the counties because like Mower County and Freeborn County do not have LUPs with MnDOT for snowmobiles within the state highway trails. So I don't know why those cities took on the responsibility, but the counties didn't do it, so cities took that on. So at this point, I don't know all the answers, but at some point here, probably in the board in 2 weeks, we'll come back and probably have to make a decision.
So do you know how this got started? Why is this being an issue now? Because there's been another issue that has been, it seems like they're going after the snowmobile trails for some reason, because there's a federal, for farmland that's in the CRP, which is a federal program. In the fine print, it says that they need, the snowmobile clubs need to get, the landowners need to get conditional use permit to allow trails to go through their land. On the CRP land. And then in that agreement, it says if there's any damage that's determined to be made because of the snowmobile trail, the landowner is responsible for maintaining that or fixing it and all that. And so what they're saying is, well, I'm just not gonna let them go on my land. So, now we got that and we have this here. It seems a little odd. that this is becoming all of a sudden now they're starting to look into this further. It's a rule that's always been there as far as the CRP thing, but it was never looked into or enforced, but I've been told that someone has been making a stink of it, making it an issue and are forcing their hand to do this, so.
Yeah.
It's kind of, I don't know, seems a little coincidental.
Yeah, I think it was Itasca County, wasn't it, that DNR gave a sample to Poly of a limited use permit? So there's at least one county that has this, and that one's from a few years ago, so it's not brand new, brand new. Yeah, I think it's the same. So I don't know that is brand new this year, but I think it might be brand new to Houston County this year.
Right. Well, when you get, like you said, get more information and find out how much we're talking here as far as the footage and money, I guess, would be nice to know.
Okay.
Thanks, Brian.
Yes.
You know, is there gonna be an LRIP program next year?
I haven't heard. I would envision, if I were gonna guess or make an assumption, I'm probably wrong, is that, there's been a lot of support from the state legislature, so it's all gonna be funding at the state level, but, being that the funding's been used up from the past, my guess that there's gonna be another bill and that it'll be approved for some type of funding. And I would definitely support some of our local cities applying.
Depends on what the state budget looks like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If there is, I wanna push Caledonia as far as Warrior.
Yeah, I know MnDOT,
State to make that as an official detour, and they should do that project before they do the roundabout.
That's part of the reasoning for it, yeah.
yeah, from what I've heard is that this is one of the most popular programs at the state regarding roadways right now. So there's a good chance some bill will be approved.
Thank you, sir.
You wanna finish, Bob? Sorry.
Sure. Just a couple little other ones I was gonna point out. Recorder's office wanted to point out that people have been getting mailers from a company out of California to buy their deed information, and it's basically they're pulling all the information off of our beacon that's already public information to try and get people to buy it. It's not really a scam, but it's kind of maybe a little on the.
Duplication.
Yeah, a little
Yeah,
shady.
it's something
so-
they wouldn't need to pay for. It's already public.
Correct, so what did she say? She had 4 of them come in and. basically-
4 to 6, I think it
Yeah, in
was.
the last period, so they're mailing them out and.
$123 for a $123 fee, they get all their information. If they would just come to the
Right.
recorder's office, they could get it then for.
If someone shows up with one of them at your door, and you gotta look at it for them.
Yeah.
Assessor's been busy, obviously with our upcoming hearing, and he's looking at, land values are actually a little bit on the decrease, so he's working to,
Yeah, he's working with the state, the Department of Revenue for, how do you call that?
reallocation, I think.
Well, he's requesting a decrease instead of, the state wants to,
He's appealing their increase.
he's appealing their increase. They were proposing a 25% increase on land values. And he's, appealing that, and he'll be hearing
He's doing it with multiple counties.
multiple counties that are doing that because actually land values are going the other way. So we'll see how that turns out.
Then I got a couple emails on the cannabis hearing coming up with people that are concerned about some of the state lawsuits that are being, in the process of being filed too. So they intend on coming to our public hearing and doing some voicing, so. And they also put it on the agenda tonight for HOKA, along with our sample. So there's gonna be some discussion down there, but they're pretty favorable with what we had on there from what I've been approached on.
What we had,
On ours, so, on our
Cannabis.
sample ordinance.
Greg?
I had a Wildcat meeting yesterday. went pretty good. We rehired Jenna and Justin. They're gonna come back next year. Hopefully, we're gonna do a 3-year contract. Carol's working on that. We made a little money because of, 4th of July was a little tough on us. Didn't have them for a month there. We didn't do much,
Because of the flood.
but there's talk about, we're gonna get maybe some cement garbage cans. We're gonna buy a few more picnic tables. Got a couple sheds there that are kind of shabby. We might have to replace a shed. Maybe put up a shelter for storing our picnic tables in and having movies and parties in during the summer. When it's raining, it'd be someplace for the kids to go play, have games in there. So just a few things that we talked about.
Okay.
Outside of that, I ain't got nothing else.
Okay. Is there any closing public comment? Don't have any in there, so I guess we can, is there a motion to go into closed session? Under, yep,
Pursuant to Minnesota statute
13D,
13D.03
subdivision 1.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Same sign.
10:21.
By Dewey to come out of closed session, seconded by Bob Burns at 10:45. Got a statement, Carol?
Yeah, so the commissioners met in closed session to discuss labor negotiations pursuant to 13D.03, 179A.01. No action will be taken.
Is there anything else that needs to come before the board? If not, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Yep. You
All
second.
those in favor, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign.